Stephen, what a wonderful spot. I mean, how did you get into milking sheep?
It was really an out-and-out diversification from milking cows, and we were milking about 60, 70 dairy cows. We didn't have a particularly good quota, and we looked around at various options, and I'd always been interested in milk production. It's something that fascinated me as a kid, and I'd always enjoyed the whole concept of producing milk. And I'd had some interest, and we kept a few commercial ewes, and I'd got an interest in sheep, and this was in the sort of mid to late 80s, and sheep milking was something of the flavour of the month. And there was a lot of encouragement for farmers to diversify at the time. And although I can't exactly say how, there wasn't a defining moment, the more I looked at it, the more I thought that possibly there was a future in it. Where we are between Coventry and Birmingham, there's a big population, there's a good transport network, we can distribute stuff quite easily. And we started in 1989 with 40 ewes. My father milked the cows, I milked the sheep, and we've grown from there.
How many have you got now?
We milk, in a 12-month period, we milk 600 ewes.
Goodness me, that's quite a flock.
It's enough, yeah.
Now, I'm guessing these are Frieslands?
Majority of Frieslands, yeah, and also some of them are Paul Dorset cross Frieslands as well.
And what about the process of milking sheep? Is it very similar to cattle? What's the whole management of the flock?
It's a real compromise between respecting the animal as a sheep and the needs as a sheep, with basically dairy cow management thrown in as well. I mean, in the winter time, for example, we house them as you would dairy cows. We feed them a total mixed ration through a Keenan feeder, and they're milked twice a day. So their milk production management is very much like a dairy cow. Where obviously that differs then is at lambing time, length of gestation, the management pre-lambing is very traditionally sheep based, and then we take the lambs away at 24, 36 hours and rear them on a machine. So you've got then a mixture of dairy cow and sheep management. So it's a real mixture, and it's a compromise of the two a lot of the time.
And how have you learnt to do that? Because it doesn't sound that easy.
Trial and error, very expensive. I mean, there's nobody out there really giving you any advice. When I first started, I looked around and I contacted the usual, the ADAS and everything else. Nobody really got any information, and I have literally sort of flown by the seat of my pants for the last 20 years. To the point now where people ring me up for advice, and I sometimes wonder whether I actually know a lot more now than I did then. But it does rubs off, you know. And it's learning the hard way. There's no easy way of doing it. And I mean, we've made thousands of mistakes over the years. Some with hindsight possibly we could have avoided. Others we just didn't know they were coming.
So for someone, a smallholder, say, thinking
Right.
about milking sheep and getting into production of cheese or sheep's milk in some way,
Yeah.
what would be your advice?
My main advice is, if you've not kept sheep before, is just to buy a few Friesian ewes, get them in lamb them down, and learn how to keep them first. Don't even think about milking them to start with.
Just let them rear their own lambs.
Let them rear their own, and just get used to keeping Friesian sheep, because they're difficult animals to manage. They're not hardy at all. They're a walking disaster area health-wise. Their feet are very soft. Lameness is a big issue. We need to vaccinate against everything really to keep them going, but they are tremendously productive, very docile, quite rewarding to keep in some respects from that point of view. They're not as skitty as normal sheep, but that's my main advice. And then after that is to start milking, and you can milk with minimal capital investment. I mean, literally a few gates and some bale of twine. You can buy a portable milker, mini milker, whatever they're called, and you can literally start milking that way. But it's more difficult now than it was when we started, because the rules and regulations regarding food hygiene are a lot stricter than when we started. So you've got to meet certain criteria. But if you do your homework and look into it, you can do it with a very low capital input.